Hello and welcome to Janking of episode 7. Today I'll present you a deck that is playing every single alternative win condition in Yu-Gi-Oh! Obviously this deck isn't great, but it's fun, so let's jump right into it. We are playing one Exodia the Forbidden One. We can trigger this effect if we draw both Exodia the Forbidden One and all the other 4 Exodia pieces. Then one Exodius the Ultimate Forbidden Lord. This can special summon itself by shuffling all monsters in our graveyard into the deck, and when it declares an attack we can send a monster from our deck to the graveyard, and when it has sent all 5 Exodia pieces to the graveyard we win the duel. Then 2 Exodia the Legendary Defender. This needs us to tribute 5 monsters for its summon, and when it then destroys a Dark Fiend monster owned by our opponent we win the duel at the end of the damage step. To summon this we are using Generator Boss Stage. This can, on our opponent's turn, summon a generator monster from our deck, and then it can summon as many tokens as possible. This way we can easily get 5 monsters on board, and then we use Escalation of the Monarchs to get a tribute summon on our opponent's turn. We tribute summon the Exodia the Legendary Defender, then we use Lair of Darkness to make all monsters on the field become dark, and DNA Surgery to make all monsters on the field become fiend, and then if this destroys an opponent's monster by battle we win the duel. And 1 Venominaga, the Deity of Poisonous Snakes. When this destroys 3 opponent's monsters by battle, we win the duel, but it's quite hard to summon. We can summon this with Rise of the Snake Deity if a Venomenon, the King of Poisonous Snakes, is destroyed except by battle. To summon Venomenon, we are using Damage equals Reptile. This can summon a reptile monster from our deck with attack less than or equal to the damage that we took from a battle involving a reptile monster. The other reptile monster we are playing is an Alien Shock Trooper. This comes up later as well. We can search this with Painful Decision, which also sends us an Alien Shock Trooper to the graveyard, because both Venominaga and Venomenon gain attack equal to the number of other reptile monsters in our graveyard, and if we only have 2 reptile monsters in our graveyard, then the Venominaga is only on 2k attack, and then it barely can destroy any monsters by battle. To destroy the Venomenon, the King of Poisonous Snakes, except by battle, we are using a Fire King engine. We are using Fire King Island. This can destroy a card we control or in our hand to add a Fire King monster from our deck to the hand. This way we can just destroy the Venomenon and then trigger the Rise of the Snake Deity. Then 2 Flying Elephant. We kind of have to rely on our opponent to triggers for us. This can, during our opponent's turn, the first time it would be destroyed by their card effect, not be destroyed. And when this effect was applied and this card attacks directly on the next turn and inflicts battle damage to our opponent, we win the duel. There isn't really an engine you can play to trigger this. You can play a dedicated deck for this, but there wasn't really anything I could fit into the deck that's an engine to trigger this, so we have to rely on our opponent for this one. Then 3 Jackpot 7. When this is destroyed by our opponent's card effect, it can banish itself from the graveyard, and when all Jackpot 7s were banished from the graveyard this way, we win the duel. If our opponent is playing any spell trap removal, we can trigger this with their help. Then 1 Final Countdown. This just straight up wins us the duel after 20 turns. This deck can't really stall, but maybe you play against another deck that isn't great, and then you can trigger the Final Countdown. 1 FA Winners. This is maybe the worst win condition in the deck, because this needs an FA monster to have its level at least be increased by 5, and if it then destroys an opponent's monster by battle, we can banish a card from our hand, field, or graveyard, and when we banish 3 FA field spells with different names, this way we win the duel. This needs us to destroy an opponent's monster by battle and inflict battle damage to them, so your opponent can just play around this by playing the monsters in defense position, or not summoning any monsters, because then you can't destroy any monsters as well. To trigger this we are playing an UA Hyper Stadium. This is always treated as an FA card as well. This can search a Hang On Mag, and then the other 2 field spells are FA City Grand Prix and FA Off-Road Grand Prix. You can technically trigger Fire King Avatar Yaksha. If this is destroyed by battle, we can destroy a card in our hand or that we control. So we can crash with this into an opponent's monster, for example, and then destroy a face-up City Grand Prix or Off-Road Grand Prix, because when these cards that are face-up on the field are destroyed by a card effect, we can search any FA card from our deck to the hand. Then 2 Phantasm Spiral Assault. This also needs us to destroy monsters by battle. This says that we can target a Phantasm Spiral Dragon we control. When it destroys 3 effect monsters our opponent controls by battle, we win the duel. But only when it's equipped with 3 different Phantasm Spiral equipped spells. To trigger this, we're playing a Spiral Wave, a Spiral Crash, a Spiral Grip, not Drip, as well as a Phantasm Spiral Dragon. These equip spells can all be equipped to a normal monster as well, so we can equip these to an Alien Shock Trooper, and then when it inflicts battle damage to our opponent, or when it would be destroyed by battle, or when it inflicts piercing damage to our opponent, we can trigger the equip spells to special summon a Phantasm Spiral Dragon from our deck and equip it with the equip spell. Yeah, it's not great, but you can technically resolve this. Then we are playing a Destiny board package. We are playing one Destiny board as well as a Spirit Message I, N, A, and L. Then we got some monsters in the extra deck that can win us the game as well. We got a Gimmick Puppet of Leo. We can summon this by using 3 level 8 monsters. The level 8 monsters we have are Venominaga, Phantasm Spiral Dragon, and we can increase the level of a Hang-On Mech with field spells. So we can use these 3 to summon a Gimmick Puppet of Leo. And then this says that once per turn, if we have no cards in our Spawn Shop Zone, we can detach 1 Xyz material from this card and place a Destiny counter on it. And when the 3rd Destiny counter has been placed on this card, we win the duel as well. We can then rank up even into a number C88 Gimmick Puppet Disaster Leo. This also wins us the duel, but it's way harder to resolve, and it's not good because our opponent needs to already have low life points to trigger this, but we can technically summon it with a rank up magic Variance Force. Then we are playing a musical sumo dice games. Musical sumo dice games only needs 2 level 6 monsters. For this we are using the Hang-On Max because we can increase the levels with the FA field spells. Then 1 Ghostrick, Angel of Mischief. You can technically summon this, but you can't really trigger its effect because it needs to have 10 materials under it, and there also isn't a small engine that you can play to trigger the Ghostrick, Angel of Mischief. If you know one, write it in the comments, then maybe I can change the deck around a bit and I can add a Ghostrick, Angel of Mischief engine as well. Then 1 number IC1000 Numeronious Numeronia. We can special summon this with number C1000 Numeronious if this is destroyed by an opponent's card effect while it has material and sent to the graveyard. And to summon Numeronious, we are playing a Numeron Network as well as a Numeron Calling and a Numeron Chaos Ritual. Numeron Calling can be used with Numeron Network to special summon the Numeron extra deck monsters, and then we can use the number 1 Numeron Gate to summon a number C1 Numeron Chaos Gate Sanya, and then we can use a Fire King Avatar Yaksha. When this is destroyed by a card effect or by battle, we can destroy a card we control or in our hand. This way we can destroy the number C1 Numeron Chaos Gate Sanya. Then we can trigger the Numeron Chaos Ritual if a face-up number C1 Numeron Chaos Gate Sanya you control was destroyed by a monster effect this turn. We can target the Numeron Xyz monsters and use them as material for the summon of a number C1000 Numeronious. Yeah, this also isn't great, but it's possible to summon the number, oh man, I hate this name, the number IC1000 Numeronious Numeronia this way. And at the end of your opponent's turn, if this card did not battle, you win the duel, because your opponent's monsters need to attack this card if possible, but if your opponent doesn't summon anything or they are not possible to attack this monster, then you win the duel. Yeah, it's really hard to resolve this, and finally I got some cards that help with the consistency of this deck. We are playing 2 Trap Trick, because this can not just search the Phantasm Spiral Assault, it can also search the Rise of the Snake Deity, as well as the Metaverse, because we are playing a ton of field spells in this deck, and that's why we are playing 1 Terraforming as well. Yeah. I wasn't able to get any wins with this deck yet, so there's no replay at the end of the video, but I still hope you enjoyed this video. You can test out this deck if you want, or you can test out any old WinCon in this deck if you want. Maybe there are some WinCons that might have sparked your interest. For example, I really like Exodia, the Legendary Defender in Pure Generators. It's really fun to trigger this, and you can just test around a bit if you want. Maybe you found something really interesting, like the Fire King engine to destroy a Venominaga, for example. Yeah, I hope you have a nice day, and if you have any suggestions, post them in the comments below. I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.